G'day, it's Author NZ here again. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a follow-up video on the one that I did on the Pro 1000 presses. I've got a few of these presses now, and I know there's a lot of problems with the primer feeds on them. And I did a bit of a tip that I'd found to help me with the primer feeds, but I've learned a lot more since that, and I just wanted to do a follow-up video on something that's pretty obvious and pretty basic, but makes a big difference on these presses. Right, so this is the shell holder or the shell plate from a Pro 1000 press. As complicated as they look, they're pretty simple to pull apart. I'm not going to pull this one apart. There's plenty of videos on YouTube about how to pull these apart and how to clean them and how to service them. One thing that I've recently found, and it is pretty obvious, this one's not all that clean. This is a spare one from my 45 ACP press, so it's a number 2 shell plate. But in the primer feed tube that comes down from the primer tray, my 9mm I was having some more problems with, so I pulled it apart, and there was a little bit of a burr just on the edge, just where that last primer comes through as it comes down the tube. So I just gave it a little bit of a clean out with a penknife and a bit of wet and dry sandpaper, and that really has cured all the problems of the primers coming down. You've got to keep the primer tray full. If the primer tray is not full, and this tube, once this tube starts to get down to the last sort of 10, 15, 20 primers, it starts to it's like there's not enough weight behind them, and they don't track down the tube all that well. Certainly that last one, there's no downward force. It's just trying to slide that way with nothing behind it, you know. So when there's at least sort of 20 primers coming down this runway here, they do tend to feed well. But if this is dirty, if there's any moisture, if there's any powder, you know, grains of powder or anything like that in there, they will have issues with letting the primer come down to the primer ram there. Okay, so they're not that hard to pull apart. Put an Allen key in here and lock it up by putting something through the hole, and you know, you don't have to take it apart. Pull this pin off, loosen the screw so you can swing this out of the way, and then undo the shell plate, and you can pull this tray out, give it a good clean. If you need to sand it, give it a sand. If you do that, you shouldn't have too many problems with primer feeds. Alright, so I hope that was helpful. If not, send me a message. Alright, cheers. Thanks for checking out Author NZ.